So, yeah, what we will do now is experience what is called as outer body travel, outer body experience. You can also call it spirit travel, astral projection, come with many different names. Essentially, the concept, core concept being the same. Yeah, the core concept being we are interacting with the spirit. Yeah, and we are finding a distinction, a relationship, a distinction between the body and the spirit. Yeah, so astral projection, out of body, spirit travel, all of these are more or less slightly different outcomes with each of these exercises. The purpose is behind it, but the core of it will be the concept of experiencing our spirit. Now, we've been speaking about the idea of spirituality. What is spirituality? Spirituality is connecting, understanding how to connect with the spirit, right? And starting to experience our life also as a spirit, not just the mind and body. Spirituality. Now we are trying to find, as an exercise, disassociate ourselves as a body. And like we can exercise the body and see the capacity of the body to grow, to look however you want, to do many things, yeah, to take on many tasks, to take on much stress, responsibilities, blah blah blah. Now we are going to exercise a spirit. But you know, the mind, the body, and the spirit are not different things. We know that. Okay? What is inside us is the spirit. If we are the car and the engine, and our mind is like the electronics of the car, okay, which defines how it runs, all everything else is, and our heart is like the, carburetor or whatever else, and stuff like that. Then who is running the car is you. So we are the car. If we are the car, the driver is the spirit. Okay? So mind is also under the control of the spirit. So mind is not controlling us. We are controlling the mind and we are controlling the body. Is when we start to become spiritual, we associate ourselves as the spirit, and then we realize that the spirit is actually controlling us, our mind, and everything else. Now we are going to, now that we become spiritual people, and starting to say hi, hello to the spirit inside, Now let's look at what are all the capabilities of the spirit. The capabilities of the body we already know. It's a limited edition stuff, right? You can do only limited things with the body. With the body, physical dimension, 3-dimension, limitation of 3-dimension. What are the limitations of 3-dimension? 2 limitations. That of space and time. Constraints of the 3-dimensional space, space and time, right? So, in the 3-dimensional body, I can be at this time, I can only be in this space. I cannot be in some other place as well at the same time, right? And I am at this space, or I cannot be in some other time. I cannot be in the past, I cannot be in the future. I can only be in this time. As a body, I cannot do that. I don't have the freedom. That is what is the constraint and the definition of the 3-dimension. Yeah. So now we are looking at what can the spirit do that the body cannot do. Yeah. So the body has this constraint, but the spirit also in the body, related to the body and the part of us, but still the spirit has no constraints of the body because the spirit is not from this dimension. Spirit is not in the 3-dimension, cannot be touched, cannot be felt, nothing can be done about it. So the spirit. So what are the capabilities of the spirit that are unique to the spirit and not to the body? That's what we are going to explore. Now, just as an exercise to your imagination. I'm going to give you some ideas of, let's say, the spirit is not bound by the constraints of the three dimensions, space and time. So what can it do? Think about it. First, since it is not constrained by space, the spirit can compress and become as small as nothing. Not even a dot. Not even a microscopic thing which it can go as deep as your cell, as deep as an atom, as a molecule, it can go as deep and go. If the spirit is a camera and can see, like we're talking of the sixth sense, can see, can hear. Now imagine the potential we have of commanding or being with the spirit and traveling deep within ourselves, into our heart, into our bloodstream, into our cells, into our cancer cells, or whatever it is, and see what is going on. Imagine the kind of power we will have, the recuperative, the healing things that we can do with that capacity. Now we become the spirit and we can experience life as the spirit because we are spiritual people. We begin to explore the spirit, and the spirit is not limited by the constraints of the body as a three-dimension. It's not from the three-dimension. It can become so small and can travel anywhere you want. It can almost become invisible. It can go deep within you. You can go travel with it and see what problems you have in your being and correct them if you like. And no, a doctor still has to use tools to go inside you to find out what is the problem with you. So now you can scan yourself. So now, the spirit has no constraint of space, and hence the spirit can, if the spirit can be as small as invisible, then it can also be as large. It can also be projected, astral projection, like you can project it to be a being as big as the solar system, as big as the galaxies, as big as whatever you want. It can just become like Brahma, right? Yeah? The spirit can be like that, can be just seeing everything like this, in a very different scale and form. That's astral projection for you. Right? This is knowing what you can do with the spirit. The spirit is not constrained by time. Our soul is not constrained by time. Hence, what can you do? You can travel back in the past. Our spirit is not constrained by time, so we can travel into the future. Our spirit is not constrained by space, so it can travel parallelly now. You can be here, and you can allow your spirit to be in UK at this point, in London, talking to a friend. And at the same time, you can have another spirit traveling, same part of the spirit, same thing, since it's you understand, space and time doesn't think. You can have two conversations simultaneously with two different people. Just giving you hypothetical concepts to understand. So what is this out-of-body experience that you get? So now you understand the relationship with your spirit, the non-limitations of that you experience as limitations are more limited. So hence, now let's say you are having a problem with your boss, or you're having a problem with a loved one, and you stop communicating because there is some bad age, something that's happened, and you've not had the chance to correct that, but it's troubling you. I'm just giving you an application of what you can do. It's troubling you, and you obviously are not able to. There is a wall, and you can't really connect to that person and say you're sorry, or this is what I mean. This is why I want to correct this thing. Okay. So what can you do? You can't physically do it because they're blocking you. You can't communicate because they have blocked your SMS and they have blocked your WhatsApp. I'm just giving you an idea. Think about it. It's a real life situation. And then you can't. So what can you do? Instead of feeling frustrated, you can lie down and do an out-of-body meditation. And allow your spirit to travel as you and go to where that person is, maybe in New York, where you are in Bangalore, in South of India. And then you go and have a conversation with them. But then the spirit is talking to their spirit. Then after a few months, when that person's energy is changed and they don't know why their energy is changed, and they have unblocked you on WhatsApp, on Facebook Messenger, on SMS, and then and then you call, and it feels like the problem is vanished. Right? Is it possible?
Very much.
So the things you cannot do with your body, with your physical body, you can do with your spirit. But for that, there is a condition. What is the condition? You need to be spiritual. Well, if you don't know that you actually, the driver in the car is the spirit and not your mind, then your mind can't do any of this. It doesn't have the capacity. Yeah, your body can't do any of these things. But your soul and your spirit can do all of these things. There are many more applications of this idea. So I was telling you to heal yourself. Yeah? You can allow your spirit to go and check, scan your being, know where the problem is, solve it. Yeah, I know this incident of a person who had almost given up for dead, who was given up for dead. I met him in Toronto 3-4 years back when I was there. And I was looking at the concept of self-healing as an idea of how to heal the self from within. And I was examining this, I was working on chakras and energy, and I was talking to a cancer patient who was a friend as well, who was suffering from terminal cancer. And the doctors had written it off because he had a cancer in one of his major arteries, a thing that grew on his neck. And the doctor, it was growing so close on that, and it was so weak, the walls of the artery, that the doctors, if they try and take it off from a scalpel, it's attached to that, and they take it from a scalpel, then there's every possibility that the artery will get damaged, and he could be a cripple for life, and it could have more severe consequences. Doctors have ruled out surgery, and chemotherapy and these kind of things also seemed like not the options for them. So they just let him be a beautiful man, 34 years old, very nice looking, very full of potential, very educated, talented, plays the guitar perfectly well. A beautiful soul. And then he's only thinking of death, and he's going from one country to another visiting doctors, and I was talking to him. And anyway, keep that chapter aside. But at that time, when I was contemplating the concept of healing the self, etc., I met this man who was slightly limping on the left side and had a few scars. And then he started to tell me a story about what happened to him. So 3 years before I met him, he had an accident when he was biking on a bicycle, going very fast, very thing. He's a professional cyclist. So he was going on his bike at full speed between intersection crossroads, in the rains and the cold in Toronto, Canada, and a car which was going full speed through an intersection just hit him, from the side and dragged him for many, maybe almost 20-30 meters, and the dragging action and the thing had basically taken off one of his sides. His bones to the bone were scraped, his nerves, his brain, his face, his skull, his hands, everything was scraped out. Doctors tried to revive him by operating, doing things, but they knew this nerve damage to his nerves was very severe. They had basically gone, shaved off, right? So they had written off, but he was still alive, a very strong-willed man. Doctors had written off, but they were just watching him, observing him. And after a period of, let's say, a few months, they started to see recovery in that person. They started to see not just recovery, but growth of bone, growth of tissue, growth of nerves. Right? He could hear everything the doctors were saying, he couldn't talk. He was damaged. And he knew what was going on. His mental processes were pretty much active and alive. His spirit was alive. His spirit knew it was not his time. His spirit knew his purpose was to do something that is path breaking. Right? So his spirit started to work on regenerating tissue, regenerating nerve cells, regenerating things. And now if you look at him, he just has a limp. and a scar, a few scars. But to know what had happened to him, he's written a book. I forget the name of the book. He's written a book and he released it a year ago or two. And but just talking to him, I understood the power of our spirit. You know how we regenerate cells as a baby. We fall down, we get damaged, but quickly we heal. Inside us is tremendous healing capabilities. Now imagine the healing capabilities of ourselves when we become spiritual. Right? When we begin to talk to the spirit, when we begin to understand we are the spirit. Who are we? We are the spirit in this body. Then we just go a layer higher in dimensional existence. So now when we associate ourselves, the first dimensional experience for a human being was when we began to use our five senses. Then we rise up from being, like low down on the food chain to being high up on the food chain. When we knew we could use our intellect, when we use our mouth to communicate, hear, build stories, make sense. When during the Renaissance, when we discovered that we have logic, we have a mental capability to analyze things and work things together, then again we go up into another layer, of dimensional experience for a human being. But now, when we realize that we are not just the capacities of the body and the capabilities of the mind, but who we are is a layer above that, the spirit, and that is the controlling entity. Suddenly our dimensional experience shifts. We get into another dimension. Our capabilities to heal ourselves, our capabilities to heal relationships, our capabilities to know and understand more than what we see just expands into another dimension. Like I told you, the constraints of the spirits it's boundless, it's free of the constraints of this dimension. And suddenly when you experience life as a spirit, you go into another space of no restraints of this dimension. Suddenly you're free in some other dimension. Now, this is what we mean by multi-dimensional existence. From Homo sapiens, we are evolving into a new species called Homo celestus, celestial beings. Yeah? So what we thought as celestial beings of the past in the mythology, right? A being who will expand himself like, as big as the moon and the stars and, play with the moon in his hand. Now you as a being can project yourself, your spirit as an astral projection. Be so expanded that you can be that. So hence, this is the